Hello, welcome to BBC World News. At least 62 people have died, around 600 have been injured in a tsunami in Indonesia. The giant wave hit the Sunda Strait, which is the channel between the islands of Java and Sumatra. The government's disaster mitigation agency said in a statement it struck on Saturday night, hitting beaches in the area. Authorities are investigating whether it was caused by a landslide on the nearby volcano Krakatoa. Caroline Rigby reports.
It began as any other night. Here the pop group 17 can be seen performing. Then a wall of water engulfs the stage. 17's singer confirmed on social media that the band's bass player and tour manager had died. He also said others, including his wife, were missing. The tsunami struck Indonesia on Saturday night, hitting beaches including popular tourist spots along the Sunda Strait, the channel between the islands of Java and Sumatra. Officials say dozens of people were killed by the huge wave, and the death toll continues to rise. Hundreds more were injured in the disaster, which authorities say may have been caused by underwater landslides following an eruption by the nearby Krakatoa volcano.
Earlier in the evening it was quite a heavy eruptive activity, but just prior to the wave hitting the beach, there was no activity at all. It was just dark out there, and suddenly I saw this wave coming and I just had to run. A second wave hit and it was quite much bigger.
Streets have now turned to mud and hundreds of buildings are seriously damaged. The country's disaster management agency says high seas from a full moon could have contributed to the strength of the waves. Indonesia is prone to earthquakes and tsunamis because it straddles the so-called Pacific Ring of Fire, where tectonic plates collide. This latest disaster will bring back memories of the Boxing Day tsunami 14 years ago, which killed more than 225,000 people. Caroline Rigby, BBC News.
Well, let's get the latest from our Indonesia editor, Rebecca Henschke. Now, she's on her way to the disaster area. Rebecca, just bring us up to speed with the number of people who've been killed and those missing.
Well, at this stage, the official death toll is 62 people, with more than 600 people injured. But we are receiving reports, particularly from the area of Lampung in Sumatra, that we haven't been getting information on before, where the death toll there could be in the hundreds. So this is a very conservative toll at the moment. But we're also hearing reports of many people injured in health centres at the beach of Cerita, where we are heading now, and also piles of body bags there.
No earthquake, no tsunami warning either.
That's right. People had no warning of what was about to happen. It happened late at night in the dark. And as you've seen there with the footage of the band playing, people really had no idea this was coming. The National Disaster Authority believes that volcanic activity on Anak Krakatoa, which is this volcano that sits in the middle of the Sunda Strait and has been erupting, they believe that maybe this volcanic activity caused an undersea landslide strong enough to trigger the tsunami, with officials saying that because people here in this area build very close to the sea, even just bigger waves than normal can cause a lot of damage. And what we're seeing is this strip close to the sea of all these villages and houses that are set up, many for tourists for this peak holiday season, have been reduced to rubble.
Yeah, another blow for Indonesia when one remembers just a few months back to what happened in Sulawesi.
That's right. It seems as if this country, this archipelago on the Ring of Fire, has been hit by one after the other disaster. This coming, of course, just before Christmas. A lot of people are travelling this weekend. And the National Disaster Agency also being asked some tough questions once again about its tsunami warning system. It did say that there was a potential last night for a tsunami. That warning was then lifted. There was confusion once again about what happened, and it's only now this morning in the harsh daylight that people are beginning to understand the scale once again of this disaster.
All right, okay. Rebecca Henschke with the latest. Thank you very much indeed. We'll be getting more from Indonesia in the next few minutes as well. Let's go back to the tsunami in Indonesia. We can speak to David Lipsum. He's with the Australian broadcaster ABC. I think you're still in Jakarta. David, I'm not sure if you're heading off to the area. What is the latest news you've had about how many dead and injured?
Yeah, well, we're about halfway from Jakarta to the affected coastline. The latest information that we have is that we are probably talking of a death toll of hundreds at this point. We have heard from local agencies both on the southern tip of Sumatra and the western coast of Java, the two islands that were affected. On the west coast of Java, one official said more than 90 people have been killed, and in southern Sumatra, more than 110 killed. Those numbers are not official numbers from Indonesia's disaster agency. The official toll is still 62, but as I say, at least we believe 200 killed, and we are still being told to expect that number to rise.
It's a busy time of the year. This is a popular tourist area. Fears that there are many nationalities involved?
Yes, potentially. Look, the beachside community in West Java is very popular with tourists, but mostly Indonesian tourists. It has been growing in popularity for foreigners as well. The information we have at this point is that no Australians, in fact no other foreigners are missing, but that could change. It's still very much an emerging situation.
There was no tsunami warning. There was no earthquake. The theories include that this was caused by a landslide. Has this happened before?
Yeah, this sort of thing has happened before. Landslides under the sea, which displace huge volumes of water, which then causes a tsunami. What is somewhat different here is that there was no surge in seismic activity recorded by the agencies here. So as a result, not only was there no official warning of the impending disaster, but in fact, after the disaster had struck for many hours, the official spokesperson for Indonesia's disaster agency was denying on social media that there had in fact been a tsunami. He was trying to dispel what he thought were false reports, claiming that there had been a tidal wave caused by a full moon, but it wasn't until this morning when the full scale of the destruction became clear, when the first daylight pictures came in, that he had to apologise on social media for those mistakes. He is, by and large, a very reliable source, so clearly something went very wrong with those messages he sent out.
All right, okay, look, David Lipsum with the latest. Thank you very much indeed for joining us here on BBC World News.